Hello Blender folks, welcome back to Pxy-STUDY. Today we're gonna make something different, or tonight, depends. So here we start out with a conversation, or feel free to write down something in the chat if you want to participate, but I'm gonna start a monologue or not a philosophical, an artistic quest discussion or conversation, but okay. So yesterday, for various reasons, my mindset regarding CG artwork making, Blender, and my relation to those, what I can do with those, what I should do with those, and what inspires me to do with those. I had my mind imploded yesterday, and the reason why, it's very personal, subjective, but here is the thing. I'm totally okay, I figured out, to work making maybe rigging for other projects, maybe all sorts of stuff, as long as I have the skill, right? So rig the stuff, rig, animate, 3D animate, model assets, maybe do lighting, I don't know, whichever thing. So Blender is very versatile, and so start learning. If you go explore, you can learn a lot of different skills in not a very long time. Maybe in a couple years you can really know not all about Blender, I guess, but certainly many domains of Blender. Of course, knowing Blender interface, its techniques, its methods, whatever, what we can do there, doesn't mean knowing art, right? It's a different thing. So, but yeah, we can learn how to apply art, to apply Blender to whatever we are doing artistically and sometimes professionally. So I'm okay with doing professional. In a moment I'm gonna explain what this is about, right? And because this is already some crazy experiment, not too crazy, like this is not new. What we have is a grease pencil line art with real-time preview because of the camera, and we activate the grease pencil from the camera, right? I think it's here, right? No, it's just have to move with the camera, right? This is for compositing, so it's something else. So don't mess it up. So the thing here is that my experience with Blender, since I started trying to use Blender like very noobishly, just modeling characters, trying to adapt my 2D characters to 3D without even focusing on mesh topology, just like model shit into 2D model shit into 3D modeling, not even sculpting, not even using mesh, knowing what is mesh topology about, although I love the mesh topology that artists created. Of course, I didn't know there were functional reasons for that, and they were important, for example, for rigging and other features that may be, but a lot in the kind of characters for rigging. And so by that time, this was like early 2010s, probably 2011 maybe I started, 2012. Yeah, about there. I was trying to mess up with Blender, but it was super noobish. I just did modeling the same thing over and over again, sometimes some scenery, not explore anything else. I was busy with other stuff, but I was trying to learn nonetheless. So Blender was growing also. It's very different, the Blender from that time to now. It already had stepped up on upgrades, but it now it's super powerful, right? I think even EV we didn't have at that time, but doesn't matter. So I figured out, shockingly, that when it comes to professional artwork making, I'm okay doing anything, right? As long as it's paid, is good, right? So I can rig, animate, model, do lots of stuff, even stuff that I don't know. So I can learn new stuff during this, or anyone can, right? But when it comes to my personal, authorial, artistic universe and creations, I figured out a very painful and horrid dependency loop, let's say like this, from rigging in Blender. So dependency cycle, right? I figured out that I'm always trying to build something to adapt my style properly. Then there's this rigging stuff, and rigging is part of the character design, the rigging for skinning, and then notably, and there's the control rig, which is another domain, which is creepy. Yeah, all that is very bad in the text and the technologies we're using. In Blender, at least, there are some workarounds with add-ons, extension, maybe other ways, but it's very, very bad for. So I'm okay doing this professionally. I've already done. I know. I even use Rigify rigs. I made some Rigify rigs also. So yes, I'm okay doing all those stuff for this professionally. But when it comes to my creative, I figured out this dependency cycle. I knew about that, right? But I tried to avoid the idea that it will be related to how I relate to these problems. And apparently, I really can't really well relate to these problems when it comes to my subjective personal artwork creation in CG art. So it turns out that all that I've been looking for stylistically in Blender, this stylistic adaptation, because I love my 2D character designs, right? For example, yeah, you should love your own character design, certainly. So, or should try to, whatever. So this character here, for example, yeah, Dorothy. So here's it's a toon version, like, but not chibi, but toon version, like. So the rise, the style, she will be taller. So I figured out that I was doing this crazy thing over and over again, and because when you go on a personal artwork development, you can take your time. You're the boss. You're your own boss. But life has time to involved, right? Apparently, so we need to also address the time issue. So I think I realized that maybe it's Blender. It's not just me. It's the current state of everything in CG is very, very hard. At least the things that I've been trying to do, the ways I tried to do. So yeah, I can achieve fine results like any professional usually, but the workflow is just harassing. It's like, and I'm not saying that the work is bad or necessary, or even I wouldn't say that I'm lazy. I just have this sensibility that this is not, maybe it's not for me, right? To do those things, at least for my own personal artwork. And so this unfortunately happens, and I don't want to struggle with myself anymore in that, because the real thing is that when I keep doing this pre-production over and over again, trying to find the best adaptation, like it's because of the highly analytical aspect of CG, computer graphics. Like, you can know every single axe, vertex, and it's very hard especially because I come from 2D drawing, right? So in my case, it's very tempting to try to go for the perfectionism on those. So these are a big struggle on the shapes, because I happen to like a lot of organic stuff, and see this is a bit of organic stylization, but a bit looks like my drawing. And turns out that to get this into the character designs, into CG art, it's feasible, but it's like, I found it's almost a dead end, because it's like, for me, because yes, I could do this for one character major, but to create a single character that is satisfying is just forever. I know this is not my fault. It's not just, it's because of the technologies. Because I see much better technology. There are better technology, at least for the control rig, and there will be if we keep developing this, all the things keep growing. There's a tendency that the technology. So again, for work, I'm okay using the techniques that we can have in Blender, for example. But for my artwork, my personal artwork, autoral, artistic, subjective thing, I think Blender doesn't help. It's actually bad. Yeah, so it's literally bad, and I don't want to keep trying, because I've been keep trying for years, and nothing came out of it. I'm just it's been a labyrinth of disrupting my. It's confusing. I always fall in the same pitfalls, and I can't find a way out. And I know that this is related to, of course, my very exigence of what I would like to have from the software, right, the text, because this sounds very weird, but yeah, again, I come from an organic field, so, and I want to deliver this organicity, let's say like this, in all sorts of ways, the workflow, in the final artwork, in the process, and I just can't get it. Almost everywhere it fails. So this is why I have almost came to the idea that now I should, well, let me work with 3D Blender, right, professionally, and but I don't want to work with CG professionally. I'm gonna go, I'm sorry, artistically, my own work. I want to do, I don't know, 2D drawing, animatics, going back to 2D animation, drawing, whatever, storyboard or web comics, all sorts of stuff like fanzines. I don't want to, which are printed comics with a cheap price, just for. So I don't want to. So and that's very curious. Then I remember there are different ways in Blender that we can try to reach the stylistic, certain handy tools that maybe could be a last resort for 3D. This involves the modeling part, the rigging part, and the animation part. So now that's sorry for taking so long here, but here is the point. What I'm attempting here to get is, because I've seen a lot of experiments on YouTube from artists that do crazy stuff with sometimes grease pencil, sometimes with rig, sometimes with skin modifier, and this is a skin modifier with a grease pencil line art. And what I'm trying to do here with a skeleton that is temporary, right? It was just a test, and you see that apparently we can get with this stuff some sort of thing that looks like adequate. And see, the skinning is very simple. This is just folks, this is just a skin modifier. This is just a vertex thing, right? Uh, this is just yeah, this is weird because this I've created these extra verts. They shouldn't even be skinned like several bones. It should I had extra because with the skin modifier it generates an armature. So you see we can control A. Yeah, there's an interaction mirror modifier, skin modifier. The problem is the skin modifier sucks. Like it's great, but it's bad. It's also it is abandoned, right? And we need to have a geometry nodes skin modifier or some develops. Even its crit mod armature doesn't work with the mirror modifier very well. Have to fix it later. So very crude stuff. We don't have control of some extrusions, of the amount of face around the face loop. It's like we can use some tricks like subdivision surface modifier. Yeah, there's some great things, but it's usually it's not satisfying, right? It's very hard to get. You can't do this for everything, although there are some people who do. But for me, it would just serve certain purpose. But I figure out that maybe instead of rigging the things naturally, why not use this thing? And then for the joints, because I have this is almost like we have a separate mesh here. And actually, if we get the line art, you know, this is a shading trick, right? You can get the the line art modifier to ignore the intersections, or you can use the intersections, but then you can create some different clothing. I don't know, but this is not good. So, and you see that we can get some good inner contour. Like, look at this. So this is kind of very cool, right? And so this is the closest thing to something that is so easy to build, so organic to get access to. And you see, my goal in this is so crazy that I was willing to destroy, literally for animation or posing, if doing, I don't know, webcomics in CG with Blender, or maybe some animatic, ultra economic animation, right? Stepped animation, stuff that I like, right? In 2D, why not do it in 3D, right? And storytelling, economics, full stuff. And you see that we can ignore joint rigging mainly. If we do the, I believe this is doable, right? Because you see, if I bring the leg here, we start to get some problem with this. Well, no, not yeah, no, not no, no. It's not happening. It's working, but there are situations where this doesn't work, where the line appears in a horrible. I think we need, yeah, like this. So no, we need to pose this in a way that you'll you see. This is very interesting because actually. That means we can sort of solve a lot of rigging issues with this. Is very crude, but you see the maybe this yeah, I know there's some potential. It's very weird, but it can adapt, right? And the thing here is that like here is even another, because this skin modifier is so crude in Blender, it cannot even use different materials. You need to have another one object with a single material that only works with the single material. Actually, we can remove this one, right? So, and then what happens that we can stack those features. And here is for the discussion on the rig. I'm so pissed off with the rigging system in Blender, rigging interpolation, automatic interpolation, the dumbness of it. It's not Blender's fault, it's an old thing previous to Blender, right? And the animation, all those problems that relates to the rig and the interpolation system, right? That the control rig, notably, that I'm also the skinning part of the rig, which is, that's why I'm trying to make a super simple way of skinning. I was trying to, but the experiment that I was doing failed, right? So I'm up to a different challenge, right? Something that could be, yeah. So remember, I don't want so many bones, right? There's just one vertex. I think that should be able to control. And you see, we can apparently do a lot of, wait, G. How do I? Oh yeah, because I'm using the. Okay, I need to grab the parent here. Okay. So I've been so pissed with that I don't even want to use any more of these control rigs with the fancy IK. Not even auto IK. I don't want any of those things because they create limitations. Yeah, they are good, but oh, so you're gonna pose manually. How you gonna do? My idea crudely I've been thinking on that for a few days already, considering, and actually what I'm interesting to really, I'm actually considering very seriously, I probably test it, yeah, I'll totally do it, is that I'm gonna make the bone a vertex. Like, I mean, the bone will be a point, essentially, and the mesh will be control. I have full control of the character. Maybe not of the interpolation exactly, but I'll have full control of the position of the bone. So there won't be any interaction between them, and that means I can do whatever pose I want without any sort of interaction that will cause trouble to my posing system. The posing system then will be slow, of course. Slow, right? But, okay, we need to fix this. But at the same time, this full control currently, because of the limitations, okay, we'll have some problem here because this should be treated like a single bone, right? You see what I mean, right? So that I have no relationship between the bones, except for the fact that they are on the same armature, the object. I will be able to do whichever thing I want, pinning, right? Displacement, just by picking, like if I was doing a copy paste thing, right? And this sounds super crude. Whoever would like to use this, well, I'm about to tell that maybe this is bad for 3D animation. The flow of maybe it's still okay for 3D animation, but I think I think I can adapt to this better than I can adapt to to any rig that currently Blender can offer. This is how crazy this is to be. How much I feel that the texts are horrible. So you see, it's totally possible to this. Of course, the interpolation. We have to make a curve stuff. We don't have. So it's so simple. That is funny, right? So I don't have to get a lot of crappy problems, technicality problems. You just need to pose, and then because this is supposed to be some sort of more how do you say 2D stuff, right? So we can do, because the idea of step, so we can sort of ignore the interpolation, right? And but this is not 2D, right, folks? This is still 3D, so that means that we can this is a 3D shape, right? And so let's fix this thing here. And so you see, we can adapt there will be a problem with the assets of the clothes and all that, but this is something that I'm considering to fix with different Yeah, so the strategies here is very strange because, okay, I think I had a rig here, but I removed it. If we pick, yeah, there was a stretching here that was possible before. Now it's no more possible. Okay, that something like that maybe. Okay, this is a single. No, this is the line art. I keep picking the line art. Okay. Okay, we shouldn't be doing this. Um, yeah, we can create a... No, there's no... Yeah, we can create an armature, but here we have a problem with the mirror modifier, so we need to do this, and then we symmetrize, and then it still doesn't work because it hasn't generated the weight. So this is how what it takes to get this. Is very... And I'm habituated to this, but imagine that without being habituated. Oh, what happened? My rig... But it took me a while to figure this out. So you need to pick, like, select once each of these times, so they will have generated waves for... Yeah, and so you can use the mirror modifier for the skin modifier, automatic, well, semi-automatic generation of the armature. And you see how good are the joints rigs here, right? Well, maybe not the shoulder so much, but I think we have some wrong parents here. It's yeah, of course here we don't so this is it's actually very refreshing to me for because of the 2D aspect. I believe we can do great things. What's this? Yeah, so some bone here. I think I forgot to do the trick. Doesn't matter. So you see, isn't this look like it can work somehow? It is. I see it wants to work. It looks like it wants to work, right? Look at some of this. Yeah, we can just fix this, and this looks like a lazy drawing, right? But I believe we can get in a simplified style. We can get something like this that works. Of course, there's a lot of attention that needs to go to a lot of better conceptualization of how to shape everything properly to make the proper line art, right? But when we have a problem, we can actually solve it by just sometimes, yeah, we can. Sometimes it might be weird, right? Yeah, so it is not very consistent overall, so but it can work, and it can be quite organic, right? I believe this deserves a bit more attention, and if I can address this and get a... Because the facility of doing this, like with is actually great compared to actually 3D modeling, sculpting, rigging. You don't need any correction here. It's more about the shapes in the that we have to build from this skin modifier. Of course, there are many limitations to character design. Yeah, so I have to have many verses here in order to control shape these things, right? And then this generates bones that are not... We can manually create, but this also helps because it's already auto waves, and it's difficult to wave paint single vertex. Apparently Blender is dumb in that it's lacking features for that. So this helps a lot, and then we can get yeah, the thing. So why not use the typical bone system? Well, because again, even if it's auto key, we'll have the dependency. So it won't help at all, because even if it helps, it creates problems. Like then I cannot pin the joint here, so it's pure garbage. So this is how bad those rigs are. So then to solve one single problem for automation, to have more features, you have to create double work, triple work, quadruple work, and so on and so on. And it's still, even after all that work, it's still pure garbage. It doesn't work. It's just not good enough. There's always limitations, and while the limitation for this, I mean, they are not even in the right way, because I want the bone to be just like I don't want the bone to be here in this. I want the bone really to be a point, so it will be the bone just as a, yeah, you see what I mean. The bone orientation won't matter so much, I guess. Maybe it should matter, but the bone will be just like a loose bone there, and so each joint will have, it'll be like tweak bones, and this is the only thing that we'll got. Then for the face, I'm still thinking, that's why I didn't do right. Of course, it should be most likely a mesh. I'm considering, because the face for me is important for the expressions more than the body. Actually, I think as long as I can get a more or less interesting costume that works, this is a challenge in this approach, right? And I think it's feasible, right? Because this already suggests that we can build cloth costumes with some degree of complexity. It likes stacking stuff, but it might have to remain a bit simple, right? Or unless I learn something better about it, right? So the face, of course, a 3D mesh, maybe not with the skin modifier, because it might not be able to shape certain things of the face. So this is the limitation of the skin modifier. I don't think I can make a face with this thing like that I had, right? Okay, apparently has a double. I removed the wrong mirror modifier. Yeah. Because here I don't think we can really shape the vertex. We have to apply this, so we have to make a face that is that would because if we start to extrude this vertex, it will start to create some sort of incoherent stuff, and this is how this thing is not very adequate. Like, how would you make a chin structure with it? It doesn't do it, because at least I have no idea how. Yeah, but then the problem is we have some sort of a muzzle now. This is weird. But then if we want to have a you see, we lack three-dimensionality control for this, I guess. Like, I want to have it's then start to become super distorted in like a random, and this can be dangerous if you had to tweak those things. So unfortunately, this thing is not very stable, and so it's very compromised. I'd love to have more possibilities here, and if you make a face with this, it also go nuts, right? So it's very limited in the topological. Yeah, you can make a donut, right? But like it's like it's useless in a lot of times, right? So we started well, but then yeah, I don't think we can. Uh, it's very convoluted, right? So, but it's okay. We can use another, just a mesh, right? Then I'm still in doubt. Okay, should I draw the features of the eye, or should I do this with like 3D that looks, yeah. So that could work, and then we can also simplify the mouth most likely. But because in that way, I might not even need to. Well, I still might need to make shape keys, right? Or maybe not. Yeah, maybe we could make. There will be various simplified approach, but there's various propositions. So you see, the idea is be to escape, or even draw directly with the grease pencil. Why not, right? The idea is to escape the intricacies and the complicatednesses, right? Because it's more than one of all these garbage things that techniques that we use professionally, but artistically, I think it's worth, yeah, if you can survive. Uh, but for me, this is I prefer now to focus my personal artwork on stuff that are more organic in the workflow, because myself I can't, whatever I tried in CG, right, so far I just can't find a workflow that is organic, in the sense that it is, I can get the things that I want fast and good and efficient, like drawing. If you're good at drawing, right, you get good at drawing, you are inspired, you just draw and you get it, right? So it's not like that in 3D. It's yeah, I made a very radical statement, but it is true. Like, there's the over analytic process. It's not synthetic, right? So drawing is synthetic. You have it's very synthetic and spontaneous and organic. You immediately get in a sketch, in 1 second the masters get a sketch of a pose of a character in 2D traditional animation. In just 5 seconds they got a super sketch, a super animation drawing, like a key rough animation rough that tells the whole story. You can do that in 3D today. It's not the same thing. Yeah. Maybe you could do it mocap, if you are the artist, or you tell the, yeah, but then it's not animation, right? Well, it could be animation in the sense that the animation is guiding the actor to, or himself or herself, the animator poses himself or herself, and that becomes like in pixelation, right? A stop motion that use the body, human body pictures as the, so it would be just a expansion of pixelation into stop motion. I really don't know why they don't use stop motion to do to make animation, right? It's it's just nonsensical. Like they don't know anything about animation, so they want to make a movement. You know why? If you make movement out of stop motion, like live action transfers, is not animation. This is motion capture, and then the animation is the creative process of the actor or the actress that is the animator, in in the imagination, through this usually construct very very varied creative process of constructing the motion from scratch, sometimes with some reference, but it's still not the same thing, right? So I also rotoscopy might also not be considered animation exactly, but this is another discussion. So the thing is that it doesn't matter. Also, there are a lot of, it does matter. So there's a lot of animation ways, right? Virtually infinite. So based on the amount of animators exist in the world. So there are certainly animators that have thought stop motion in a more creative ways towards animation, right? So that means that we can certainly link animation and stop motion together. Not the garbage thing that is related to how the technique of stop motion is used. Then you will get the stop motion, and then you have the animators to fix the keys. I'm not talking about that for some project, maybe a game project. Not talking about this. I'm talking about more creative interactions between stop motion and animation that certainly exist, and I'm not aware. So I have this idea: why, if you could motion capture pictures, right, instead of yeah, the keys, right? That will be like the digitalization, the a pixelation type 2 level. That will be my dream, like, because I'm that spontaneous when I draw animation. As a kid, I used to draw characters like this, right? And so I draw stick figures, of course, and then I started to get one pose here, then this is not the so then you start. I don't have the onion skin here, so you see how fast I draw one of these poses, and these are sort of organic stick figures. I drew it my brother, but I was the one that were doing when they run. I was the one that is doing animation flip books, right? He started with comic books, then I followed, then we started to create together. We invited friends to then create alongside with us, and and then but I went for one step further. I started to explore a flip book animation at 11, 12 years old, something like that. And so my notion of timing and special effects and character animation was already out there by that time with this kind of stick figure. So it's very fast, very spontaneous. So in Portuguese it's palitos, which means that stick, right? So it's the stick style, estilo palitos. Estilo de personagens palitos, style of palitos characters, style of stick characters. But this is not any kind of stick figure. This is a special stick figure that I came through. There was my brothers to make them more stiff, while I then preferred more rounded motion, but sometimes I also made them stiff on demand, right? Like angular. But for animation, often this is more dynamic in lots of shots and lots of frames, right? So, folks, so this is the thing that I'm researching now, because sincerely, I figured out after years, when I started to really professionalize in Blender, trying to learn it for good, it was late 2021. So I'd say, 22 to 26. So 22, 24, 25, 26. 4 years, right? 4 years. Although 22, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. 4 years and a half, maybe. Then, if my maths are good. Doesn't matter, it's just arithmetics. The math is goes much more interesting outside of that. People talk a lot of shit about mathematics in this internet culture, right? Also everywhere, right? It's not just like mathematics is like I think there's a conceptualization is mathematics, right? Because to create a new concept, you need to use some sort of logic, and in these logics there are already qualifiers, some sort of, let's say, conceptual topology, and essentially this kind of abstraction. This is logic, this is philosophy. No, this is maths. This is pure maths, some kind of mathematics that no one might have thought of it yet. But yeah, we know the interaction between mathematics and logics, and so everyone does math and without even knowing. But of course, when you practice the certain calculations of the mind, and you start to understand complexity, you get used to get familiar with certain patterns of thought that are less restrictive, less let's say linear, less how do you say, what do they call this thing when you have, yeah, cause consequence, causality. You start to work at different, like maybe systemic, maybe multi causality, and then you need to navigate with this complexity, and there are more complexities, and there's complexity in human relations and with the emotion of oneself. So it's crazy, right? And all that could be, I'm also not trying to generalize that everything is math, because it's also ridiculous. Another way to, like, then mathematics become the god, and then you enter in this kind of invention, technology, science, domination culture of Western world. Because if anything they did never conquer the world, they actually destroyed the world. So this is like that's why this stuff needs to be learned, right? To not fall in trash and not get in the same discourse. And also to find ways out of the self-destruction that this civilization does, right? So yeah, essentially, okay, sorry, talk too much. Now let's go back to the thing. So this is, I was intending now to start building this seriously, like this was the experiment, and you haven't seen me doing this, but essentially it is just a question of getting separate. Yeah, we can delete the armatures. We'll have to clean up the, yeah, I have to clean this up. We have to, gonna keep the subdivision surface modifiers. I don't know if it needs to be 2, but apparently otherwise it's too bad, too low, too polygonal. The mirror, I think it's important, and we need to clear the yeah, this object you can remove, because I believe it will not be a skin modifier. Yes, so I need to rebuild. Yeah, okay, sorry, forgot again this. So this is annoying because these are auto-generated. I don't want any of this. Otherwise, I think it's interfere when we need to recreate the. So the thing here is that we can probably ignore the camera, I guess, for now. It's the camera that allows us to look at the line art properly of the grease pencil, so it's not gonna help from various angles, so we better just turn it off for the time being. So we need to character design, right? So this is more like a, we need to address the other grease pencil, and we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna I'll need some already to address her clothing, right? And this needs to be designed from various, because see, I'm doing a procedural modeling here, right? And it is tricky, and I will need to create this incorrect, or let's say this clipping madness, because apparently this is the best. Well, maybe it's not the best way. I have to try out. I'm not sure this is gonna work. Maybe we need to do one side first, because there's something about this mirror modifier that is suspicious. I think we need clipping. Oh no, we don't. Yeah, so see, as soon as we connect, we start to get those things. So this is, I think this is bad, because we want some posing, right? Some more cleared poses. So I think I'm gonna skip this thing. Oops, not like this. We need the root, right? If you do this, then the root disappears. Maybe it's dangerous. Well, it's dangerous for modeling. Maybe I need to separate the arms just as I separated the... Yeah, because the arms might be, or part of the arm might be a different object. But you see, the objects are separate. This doesn't mean that the bones will be stated as the cloth. The bone can carry cloth and like a... Yeah, so we need to fix some shapes here. And this would be tricky because it needs to be solved in with this kind simplified geometry. We can't really expand this too much, I think. It's too... We need to find a way that makes this shape the character even in more than these dimensions, right? And then there is the thing that, yeah, maybe we want to have the how do you say, maybe, yeah, okay, I remember. Maybe we want to have the bodies, the body, like the skin, right? Like nude, but we want to have the, so that then in that way we won't be separating everything, although it could be beneficial. I'm not sure. Here is just experimental. I really don't know if this is good, right? Maybe we can make the feet red. Yeah, this is... You see how weird this thing is? We certainly need more shapes here. Yeah, a lot of... Yeah, we need the front view and side view, right? So I never did that, actually, skin modifier for the... actually, we can... This is an interesting thing. We can do this on the per axis, Control A, but it's very limited. It doesn't help too much in the rotations. If you try to rotate the mesh in 3D space, it go nuts. So it's like the curve modifier. It just when you try to get the axis, it's a nightmare. It doesn't really understand local space, I guess. It just understands world space. It's horrible. And so this feature has this unfortunate limitation. So certain things are actually very bad to make. but I think we can sort of survive here. So I think I can use this so to make the like the skin first, right? Uh, this is just too weird, right? So this shape, and then it needs to bend, right? Because it's the, so some things are for shaping shapes and other things are for bending. So this is why there's no real, it's hard to separate. The vertices don't have data, right, that we can use to calculate, to plan them. So it's kind of, here I don't know what I'm gonna do to solve the PTC. It's a big, it's intricate, but it's kind of funny. But wait, is this okay? This is the front part. This is the back part, like the ankle. This doesn't mean that this shape will work during posing, right? So this is a concern. I don't really know the limits of this stuff. Okay, let's go for something else for now, because the foot is weird, right? I see that the character design for the knee is not really matching. I made apparently an impossible character design. Maybe we'll have another one here. So, but it's, yeah, so how are we gonna do this, right? This is, it's like and now you get some, yeah, some lot of crazy shapes. Yeah, maybe it's, I don't know, this, if it works alongside the bones, like these masses, right, these volumes, they work together, then this could work, right? If they move together in sync, right, then they can move in sync, right? We have a very bad shape here for this part. Yeah, because of the symmetry, right? So here, I really don't know if, I don't remember. Yeah, because maybe I was not looking things from the profile, exact profile. So apparently here we might have found a dead end. Or maybe not. Maybe we got... Yeah, so the symmetry of this stuff is now not going well, right? And I don't know how to solve this thing, because if this thing... I don't even know what is this. Okay, this is the second spine, right? So you see, it makes no sense. So this is, unfortunately, this is very hard to use, right? But and I'm not even sure we can get all that we want from this. But If I can find, there should be some smart way to achieve that, but right now I'm not aware what could be a solution. It's kind of interesting challenge, right? Never seen before. At least, and here you see where we need to make another subdivision here to get the neck base. If I want to keep them all together, right? We can separate the limbs anytime, right? So maybe here sometimes we have to create this kind of fork in order to get certain shapes. So yeah, this is super hard. It's very hard to predict. And the X, yeah, the X, at least the X is the X. So I have to be doing, actually always remember the shortcut is weird, Control A. Very hard to remember if you're not using this all the time. And here again we have this volume problem on the front. We can't seem to be able to shape the clavicle. Okay, this will help. I thought that I had the... Yeah, I'm still not satisfied with it. Maybe we need to do another thing like this. For the gluteus, maybe. When we lack symmetry, then maybe the... Oh, I see. It understands the... This is X. Doesn't work. Control... No, it's because I used it wrong. Control A, X. No, it seems that it's used on the screen. It's not on the... Yeah, so the X here is this X and the X here is this X, so it's confusing. I don't... And here we got some horrible interaction. I think it's because of this root. I'll have to change what is the root here. Maybe this would do better. No, it doesn't really help. This is the root of the something else. Okay, then we can of course shift this one, and from here we can shape the... I don't know why it lose the root, mark root. Well, it's not... Okay, so you need to... I don't know what's doing this, but... Okay, so here we're gonna shape the limb like we need a top view. Yeah, so this requires a lot of attention, right? Here we can't really rotate. We need to just move it. Like I got not getting the hand. The hand can be very creepy to make. There's all this forking stuff, right? Oh, we got the displaced. Why it's so displaced in the? Okay, I got it. So maybe it's all displaced like that because we can't see the front is not good, right? So maybe we need another one. I don't know. No, this is terrible now. No. Yeah, so fixing this for this is not that simple. Yeah, let's get it. It was good before, but now I don't know. We should straighten this, but if we straighten and we lose certain features. Okay, and here for the hand, what you can do is just yeah, you can change how this works. Then I already did once. It's gonna. Okay, from here we're gonna fork. If that works, I don't know. They join, but in the wrong way. You know, on this edge. Yeah. And here we got some. Maybe they should not be connected. But it's not looking so bad. But this is. Yeah, at least not from the top view. Here it's very alien indeed. So Control A. Can we? Yeah, we can scale in the top view, but it's never it scales symmetrically. So ouch. Yeah. So this is um Yeah, so in order to get anything more complex in terms of character design with this, it would require uh, it's urgent that we get some maybe geometry nodes into this. I don't know. Made this like I should be looking some geometry for some geometry nodes. It's also very hard. What can you do with a tool like this? What are the needs, right? What would be good to have, and then you have to figure out what can be developed, right? The hand sounds super big, right? And this, if we have a wrist, it's not very good, right? So when things seem to work, they seem for me like more interesting than to work out than like let's say uh, than actual. But then there is the problem of the three-dimensional shapes, right? There are things that we won't like. Let's say some anatomic features of something more organic. Maybe I won't be able. I never be able to catch from this. Yeah, for example, we don't have glutes, don't have the middle of the spine. We have to. So this requires something like specialized, very specific character designing, and that is something that I struggle a lot with. Like it's not just a simplification. So this is like actually a pretty damn restrictive challenge to me. Though organically speaking, these shapes are very nice, and when you rig them or whatever, use the armature, they deform quite good actually. Right. So let's give an example again. So I've just did that. Let's try what we can get out of the great armature, and there we go. Okay, there's no symmetrization. You get some crazy bones. I don't know what this is. Doesn't matter. So then we got, okay, this will be very weird, but let's try to ignore the other's opposite side, right? So this is that we can get, so if some lines appear, you can find ways to hide it. Of course, here we get this kind of connected structure that doesn't really interest me so much because at least FQ we can, or no, not FQ. Yeah, this is not for interpolation. But look at this. This is kind of interesting if we look just pose by pose, right? Not interpolation wise. Very good, right? To be fair, with this simplicity trick, then here we'll have to repose the shoulder to maybe to get something better. But it's strange how easily it can fit. So here, yeah. So just sort of adapt, right? And all depends on how we, yeah, then the neck, let's see what we can do about the neck. Yeah, when I see this happening, I find it super tempting to keep going in this direction because check this skinning here. Well, it could be a little better, but as no skin is the most ridiculous thing, right? Of course, the shape doesn't look very good, right? And this could be a maybe this is just is can only be solved with some sort of I need to get this in front here. Aha. So skin by posing, although it might be completely wrong. No, not completely wrong. So in front of the camera, isn't that crazy? So this is why these loose bones. No, it's not just because of this actually, right? It's because the loose bones they really deliver when it comes to this very bad interaction that they stiffen the possibilities, right? And this is the thing that is spontaneous in like Unreal Engine's control rig. Yeah, the hand is very creepy, but here ignore the symmetry. Now let's look for maybe the what we can get out of the leg. So again, ignore the symmetry. Yeah, look at this skinning, right? And even in the style of 2D, incredibly, it seems to be quite fitting, right? We can't make really, I don't see how we could make a correction here. Um, there's this problem of the symmetry, auto, almost, yeah, the symmetry of these vertices. We need to scale these vertices, right? In some way that they would scale on the only on the positive or negative x-axis or stuff like that. We need some more tweaking of those features. Then we'd have really cool. Look the foreshortening here. Yeah, this is really incredible considering this is just here I'm struggling to get a better pose, but it's not that hard, right? It depends. Yeah, I was having, so there are some problems that anatomic problems, even with clothing, that I'm not sure yet how could be solved. Maybe we'll have to make double structures here for features like yeah, breast, gluteus, whatever. Yeah, even the uh, foot toes and maybe the problem is that as soon as you start to build those features, at least on top of the same um, in the connected in the same like for example, let's try the okay, let's try some shapes here for where's the front? I don't remember. I don't even know. So let's try like for example to build something like well, we have to reset this. For example, the breast. Let's try to make something about so there could be this approach, but I think this will be a bad approach. No, it's not the bones that matters. It's actually the I think this is the would be wrong, right? Not wrong, but probably won't will be very dangerous. So probably this is where we need to uh, actually how is separate? Yeah, we need to make a Shift D, right? Loose vertices, and this is mark root. Maybe this can. I know I have never tried this, so it will work maybe okay for. But then we have a problem of the grease pencil. Here it is supposed to just work on the yeah, and apparently we get some convolution of stuff here. I don't know what it is doing. can it do? Okay, so anyways, let's try this and see what that means in the camera. Okay, so maybe, right? Yeah, strangely, it's getting the silhouettes. I wasn't expecting this, but yeah, so it would need some more. Yeah, just like this line, right? But you see the shape. Yeah, but we need to get this shape, not something right, symmetric, rounded. So in the end, it's a niche thing, right? Um, Whoever would like to do some research in that, I'm kind of yeah, I'm like divided. One of myself. I hope you're not divided, or maybe yes, but one of myself is telling me, "Oh, this looks great. You need to continue. Who knows what you will find if you continue this? You will master this thing as I don't know. You could find a solution to all those things, and it will be maybe easy, maybe how good. Continue, continue." But another part of me is telling me again, look, this is, look, gnomes, this is CG. And this is not easy technique. You already see that it has problems. The skin modifier sucks. It won't get any better anytime soon, maybe unless you find a geometry node that do exactly what, or do some great features. A geometry node that mimics, recreate the skin modifier and makes it better, that solves a lot of stuff, even stuff that you haven't conceived that would be nice to have. And then, yeah, so using old tech, you're trying to create like I'll say the Mona Lisa with it's not because it's not only old tech, like it's because in the case of this kind of technology, of course, old tech is usually often means something terrible, right? But not it's not always like that, and of course this is debatable, but you see what I mean. It's like maybe Mona Lisa is not a good example also. The thing is that, yeah, so one part of me would be telling me, look, you already see this is complicated. The skin modifier is not any better than it brings its own big problems, big issues for what you're trying to achieve stylistically. You have to then drive your style to something and your workflow to stuff that you might, to paths you would not like to go. So while you're doing this, just fucking draw, right? Like go for the back to. So that's the thing, right? So I'm very divided like that at the moment after seeing this. But I cannot say that this is not very interesting to see this shaping out like so easily in some ways. But it's not that easy, right? A lot of problems. So I think the thing is that this is one thing that I haven't mentioned is that, you see, to solve something that you'd like to have, if the technology is not good or you don't know there's a secret method, you know, you have to spend, the artist will have to spend a lot of time in research. Who knows how much time? So I've been spending years in research of rigging and control rig stuff for basically nothing. Not nothing. I know how to, now I have professional skills, which is great. But at the same time, well, this is still garbage, if that's my personal opinion. So the solution for me, artistically, not professional, I mean the outdoor part, my own personal artwork, pet projects, stuff like that, would be my dream projects also, would be to get stop this fucking research, right? That is the thing that Blender opens up. All software maybe open up this, right? But CG opens up, especially with Blender. In the case because I use Blender, only use Blender. Maybe I would like to use Cascadeur or Unreal Engine because of their control rig, but doesn't matter. The For 3D animation, right? The resuming finally. It's because I need to go to the bathroom. Sorry, folks. One minute. Be right back. Otherwise, I can't focus. All right, back, folks. So, in conclusion, basically, what I've been thinking of, stacking those experiments, of course, it was not arbitrary. They follow a logical line, a rational line of thought and real. And the thing is that my personal projects, everyone, I think, would like to have the when I see all the shit work that I'll have to do, literally and it's not this bullshit of make yourself better to be better to face the yeah, it's plausible, but maybe for someone else. For me, at this point, I found out the formula, apparently, or I found out what the mistake is. Like, the problem is that it takes so much to bring up the goods to happen in that I have to change my style to something. So I already was simplifying is not enough. Low poly is not enough. So nothing is enough. Whatever I do, I need to crush my dream in order to adapt to Blender. And then when I see all the work it takes to build a single character, to get it real good, it takes years of research, and it just doesn't work. And then you see that it's become for me a waste of time when I compare it. In all this time, I could be doing like 2D graphism, drawing, maybe 2D animation, whatever, for my personal projects. And the problem is that all this technicality that comes from the CG, right? CG is great, don't get me wrong, right? But I wasn't lucky, right? I wasn't lucky with my own approach, I could say. I hope you are. right? If you are listening, there are a lot of artists who adapt very well. They get the job done. They maybe probably they struggle, but they find a way. They find a way that they are satisfied, or if they are not satisfied, well, they can still make their dream come true out of maybe they have to change their original idea to adapt here. Yeah, maybe they have to, but so some great artists exist that can do. Apparently I have too much of a struggle with the text, and now I know that this big struggle, which I call the pre-production labyrinth of CG, right, is that like rigging, right? We can't animate the characters, the rig are not good, right? Well, you know, want to know what is 2D rigging, right? 2D rigging is precisely. Let me start a new file here in 2D directly. 2D rigging would be something like this, right? You have this is the conclusion that I had because why I like rigging in 3D, even though I'm sort of not wanting to do this anymore for my personal projects for a while until they bring up new rigging features. Then Blender, I'll be back, maybe. I'll still be probably doing okay with professional rigging, so right on the but not for my own project. I want my own style. Want to do something else, right? Seriously, because all this pre-production, it how do you say, it drains the inspiration. It drains substantial energy, the essence of the art. All this so this is where that comes into, because then all this is time, and time is life, time is money also, you say. So, and I can't be doing this forever to reach because of the techniques that we have today, the technologies we have today, so in Blender at least. So I need, if I don't have a solution for this, because I'm not able to adapt. I have tried. Maybe I'll find some way. Whatever I tried to adapt didn't work the way I was expecting. So I made some effort to adapt. I started very stiff on my stylistic adaptation. I wanted to do something very legit, like very copy-paste. Then I realized after maybe half a year in Blender, 6 months, that, oh no, look, I can't make this, it's too hard. But look, maybe this 3D stylist, that puppy, how do you call, doll that is becoming 3D on my style, is actually, after comparing, checking a lot of cartoons, 3D cartoons, that there's always this realistic part of the CG that comes out together. You know, these mouths, they shapes, these things, they are not that bad actually. I start to like them after all, and then this kind of adapts the style. I was not at my adaptation from 2D to 3D started from drawing to Blender, started to become like I'm deriving a style, like from the original 2D style. Now I'm making a 3D style. They are different. It's still my style, but it's a different thing. So I reached this, so I could adapt, but into many other things, right? But then I was trying later to do some cartoony version of my characters to see if I could make them faster, but there's a limit. I'm not like the company of I don't know, these guys that girls. There's a great potential on this. There's this character Pomni, famous now, right, with Digital Circus. So these guys, I don't know if they want money or creativity, I don't know, but one thing they can do is that they found out what I found, or many found. Oh, you know, this software sucks, the CG sucks, let's just simply oversimplify it. It's like the Cartoon Network revolution, right, with graphism, or Flintstones, maybe, Hanna-Barbera stuff, whatever. So it's this kind of stuff, right? And these genius solutions, right? They require that the artists, they need to be character designers who really are willing to create those things. So it's not my stuff, right? And that's why I can't proceed with this fucking research, which drain my energy. Okay, so this will be 2D rigging, folks. So you have a, like, it's like a human figure, right? You have a, you want to make a, I don't know, a pose, right? And we don't understand the head, but that's fine. And then, so you want to see if you can do the character in whichever pose you want. I don't know, right? So yeah, so whatever. This is just a, so this is 2D rigging, right? The artist just studying a poses, right? It's not even a keyframe or anything. It's just studying the pose, right? The posing. If the, if can shape the momentum, right? Everything like that, right? You can. Okay, like, here will be for animation right there. So I've been considering then using grease pencil, which is still, it's very hard in my opinion, but it's getting so much better that maybe for sketching, for a lot of things it can. What is this? It needs to be downloaded. Oh, it's a good brush, right? Oh, look, it's like, what's the name of this thing? Big dry marker. Oh, yeah, that's kind of like pretty sketchy, isn't it? Maybe too bold. Still. Maybe it's good for sketching. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's certainly good for sketching, but maybe not. Depend on the sketch you want to make, right? So I'm between Krita and Blender right now when it comes to drawing, right? Because Blender is very confusing, its UI, because it's a CG software naturally. Krita, I don't have a lot of experience to keyframe, but the brush there are incredible, and it's not so complicated. But of course the animation system in Blender is better. You have the 3D, you can merge things for some very cinematographic effect. The Krita doesn't have this, right? And the timeline for soundtrack is poor. You need, I think you can just use one soundtrack. So Blender is much more complete of a software, although Blender doesn't have, of course, all the Krita simplicity and efficiency when it comes to right, the digital, yeah, 2D, right? So so I'm considering that what to do regarding that. And so yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna consider exactly 2D traditional animation. I think the conventional smooth animation. No, I think this is not maybe what I want. I want something more ultra economic, like animatics and stuff like that. Maybe even comics, right? Web comics. But I so I'm considering what is to be the best medium at this point. But yeah, so we started another crazy experiment. Maybe that gave some insight to you guys, but girls. But my assessment here is maybe I come up with an insight that will make me retake this approach with the skin modifier and the grease pencil line art and these separated bones, but so far I think I'm gonna focus now on something more, even more radical towards 2D. What I would really like to do is master, but it's super hard. It depends, right? It depends on the, it's mastering this grease pencil when you combine 2D with 3D. At least 2D characters and 3D scenery, for example. I really love this concept. It's something that always fascinated me, but it's super. I tried certain things. It's obnoxiously complicated, but right now I think it could be a possibility in all these changes, because now I have a clearer vision of what's going on, because I tested so much things in Blender that in 3D, right, that I couldn't get through in the end. Technically I can, but it's personally, on an emotional level, when it comes to my own creation, right? So it's that thing, right? Let's say it's like imagine you have a skill. It's very weird, right? You have a skill, but you don't like it to use it, but you can use it, or you like, but you won't do it as a hobby. You use it, you do it for money, for work, for working with a team, but not your own stuff, your most cherished stuff. Then you do something else, right? And so that is how I am looking at right now this insight. This is how I'm looking at 3D CG, and this is my personal story. It's very subjective, so I'm not selling this, so that you are aware, right, of the risk of CG trap, Blender trap maybe, and especially if you are 2D artist or want to be one, like the organic stuff, spontaneity. I think it's very hard to get those things out of the box still in software like Blender, and I think it's a problem of the digital, but it's especially 3D CG, right? So yeah, it's a nice sketch. How do you mirror the stuff? I don't remember I think I have a flip, right? I had a shortcut for that. Ah, I remember how I use this. Okay, so you can see if the drawing is too weird. It doesn't look super weird. The nose is very displaced, but this one is weirder. But this I could already see from when you flip and the drawing is not looking weird. It looks that the drawing is usually very good, not having vices and distortions. The old technique, right? Very well known, but maybe I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna pick a screenshot because I'm not gonna save this file. Okay, let's bring this more to the center. You can, why not pick sometimes some. Yeah, so this is the thing that I like to do, and rigging I like, but you know the difference is that rigging, modeling, I like all those things, right? Animating, but then to animate a character of my own, I have to do all the rest, right? And shading and doing composites. But you know, the thing is that this is storytelling. The rest is not storytelling for me. And so this takes just 1 minute, some what minutes to make, while all the rest takes hours, days, weeks, months, years, and it's not storytelling. So that's the final formula. I will write it down for me, right? So it is rigging and I don't mean this that you need to think equally. Modeling, because some artists they feel like really the thing, but I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories. Like, of course, this is generic. Everyone has stories to tell, and there are different ways to tell story. I really mean telling stories with stories, not with the design, not with a caricature, not with a cartoon, not with a composition. Maybe a composition, yes, for me, a painting and illustration, but more like this flow of, yeah, like a narrative flow, right? So that is specific to stories in the sense of a novelty, like that, right? So this storytelling, right? Modeling, rigging, shading, rendering, compositing, blah blah blah, all those things. Animation. Is there? Yeah, there will be other stuff like sculpting, but I don't do too much sculpting, but just to mention here. So rigging, shading, so all those things. There are a lot of things to get things right, in 3D, right? And maybe there are more things, right? No, let's do like not storytelling for me. Well, this storytelling for me. Okay, we could say 3D animation, for example, or 3D web comics. I tried to do something like this, but it's 3D, right? And that means that, right? It's related, right? 3D animation is related, right? But if I have everything, right? Yes, indeed, that is also, yeah, so that is storytelling, but it takes forever, the storytelling that I want to make, right? Incurable I am for what I'm looking for. It's just my dream and stuff, right? So I can't get my dream out of this stuff, or it will take forever. My decades, maybe, who knows. Can't find my way through. Not so far. So I tried, and never. So and the difference is that this kind of storytelling, to reach this, I have to go through all this, and so working with this is easier, because it's not. Sometimes you're giving some animation to do, some 3D layout, and no, okay, storytell, go straight to the stuff. Sometimes you have to rig something, okay, but it's not storytelling, but okay, gaining money with that, that's fine, great. So and there's a diff. So this style of storytelling, it's not given. This is already given for me because I've been doing it, not only because drawing is like that, but because also I have way much more decades, I have much more years in this stuff, drawing, than 3D, right? Maybe that's one thing to consider. But after maybe 4 years diving deep in 3D, like it's not a good sign, I believe. Maybe I'm too immediatist. I don't know. We know CG is particularly overly complicated, right? So the thing is that all this, it takes, so all this, let's say, include this, but this could be faster than this, but 2D animation, who knows, but it's maybe not. But the thing is, all this takes like, yeah, years. It's like maybe years. And while this, years like to do one step, one stage, not the whole thing, right? And this is given, like this is like 1 minute sketch. You get, so you get storytelling, you get fast. Here it takes year, you never reach the storytelling. I never reach a storytelling, or seldom get, and then it's every time I get, and you have to build more assets, right? You need a team, then you waste time. I waste time, and that doesn't compensate. So this is the deadly cycle, right? So if, of course, if you love doing this stuff, that is awesome. I kind of love, but then the problem is it gets so difficult to get the things as I want. Without being perfectionist, but still not getting the fine results that I would like to have. Is just that it's the death of storytelling, right? And I don't want that. I want the life of storytelling, and for that I need to avoid precisely this, and because this doesn't pay off for me. Not, I mean, on my personal projects. And it took me several years to reach this conclusion. I hope that the only thing that I don't hope to change in that regard. I think I found a truth to me, to myself. To be fair, it's how I work, right? How myself works, right? And there's always this spontaneity, organicity, and then this systematization might be useful. I don't know. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you can find this useful to solve some problems of your own, and maybe can give you some insight to think different strategies to how work with 3D, how we work with Blender in a way that won't crush your own creativity, or how to make it better for you. If it doesn't crush your creativity, then you might have other kind of storytelling you can adapt. You might have complete different issues than I do, right? So that is interesting. So the essentially what else? Yeah, so and yeah, so I think this is enough for today. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with my channel now, but most likely I need again to make this big shift into stop doing this rigging, maybe, and other experiments with CG, and go for what I know that will work. It's just a question now of following the track that maybe I went to the 3D to escape this for some reason. Oh, maybe it's another bigger. I hope not, but the thing is that yeah. So I hope the technologies will in Blender will soon have. Maybe it will not be so soon, but at some point there should be groundbreaking change that maybe will bring me back to this in a positive way, and I'll be watching for that. But for now, I mostly consider that I should just be doing these things professionally because it cost me too much so far, and now I need to do storytelling, back to the good stuff. And maybe I can use this channel to focus on this kind of stuff straight from 2D, or maybe with some 2D, this integration with 3D center, which is the grease pencil thing that I'm really enthusiastic about. But doing in some economic way might be the best way to go. Yeah, like very even black and white stuff like that, and so certainly avoiding stuff like rigging, uh, and if I use shading, yeah, some really simplified shading, like yeah, so going for the simplified stuff and spontaneous stuff. Whatever is not spontaneous, it's not good. So if I can draw good well enough with grease pencil and Blender, I think I can. So that means it's not spontaneous, not good for me, not good for storytelling. Goodbye. So this is the new approach, folks. So thanks for watching, and seriously, I don't think that anyone is gonna watch all this monologue, but it is there, it will be there, and maybe this is might be very interesting for someone else out there, maybe you. So folks, that's it. Have a nice week. See you another time, another day. Happy blendering and happy inspiration and creations. Don't waste your time and your life in stuff that you are seeing that are not really paying off, right? Try to find the patterns, uncover the patterns, and then as soon as possible, if possible, it's plausible, right? And then you can make better decisions about even something that you dream about, but okay, maybe that is not exactly the best way to achieve it. Because this is a thesis, just a complete, like if someone has a dream, everyone, I think, most people, I think they have a dream, right? Like big dream, like maybe more than one, right? Big dream. But like, let's say artistically, I want to create this story, this thing, this masterpiece, this artwork, whatever. If you have a dream, now this is serious, very serious, big bucks question. If you have a dream and you're not doing, you can't, for some reason, whatever reasons, you can't seem to progress in that direction. Like, when things seem, I know a lot of artists, friends, and I know that because it happened to myself, I can mirror myself in others in that regard. But I know a lot of artists, or I knew a lot of artists at least when I was younger, that have their dreams, but they could hardly achieve those dreams. And as we grew up, everyone wanted, like, that I knew from some stories, they wanted to tell stories with comics sometimes, and they just as me, sometimes they were crushed by the challenge. And it's like, so that means that if you have a dream and a big dream and you're not progressing towards it, then you're not taking your life seriously enough. And because I have a dream and I want to fulfill that dream, I have to do this. So this is the guideline, right? If these techniques, if these technologies are not good for my dream, and apparently they aren't, now that I know this, I know for good reasons. Maybe I know for other reasons, but there are good reasons now why this is a bad idea for me. I thought it was a great idea for a long while. It's not the first time I struggle with that, but now I have a more fierce conclusion because I'm really uh, tired of the and angry about the sometimes you have to build your dream out of anger, and that also works at least sometimes. So and yes, so you're not progressing towards the dream of it's too slow. Why it could be faster? If you have the opportunity to look forward a dream, right? Sometimes we just are in life situations where there's just nothing we can do. Apparently, almost nothing towards that, and that is probably one of the worst things that can happen in life. But sometimes there is possibility, but we just don't chase it for whichever reason, and that's also horrible. But at least we have the possibility to chase, but we don't chase, or just very shy. So this is not taking life seriously. So this is my advice: take your life seriously, and then look for your dreams. Especially, I could say, when it comes to art, work, art creation, storytelling, or stuff like that. Right? Don't waste your time if you're doing stuff that are not contributing. Uh, Shoot them, shut off them, or reduce them. Stop making them an interference to your inspiration, and that, of course, if possible, give time to certain things, but don't give enough time. When you figure out that something is just not working, you try a lot of stuff, maybe it's a good sign that it's a time for a big change. I know it's we never know, right? Because sometimes you might just one more step to a great finding that would resolve a problem. So you never know. So there are risks, but there is a thing that I think we should take into account is that uh, yeah, and never abandon your dreams, because the dream is sometimes it's something that can adapt to. I mean, maybe it's something that for me, for example, I have this storytelling passion, right, for my stories, but they don't need necessarily to be in 3D like a car. They can be in 2D. Yeah. So you see, I have this versatility, some sense. But if I can't tell the stories with those characters, well, maybe with a fantasy universe, maybe the sci-fi universe. If none of them, I have trouble. But if each one of them, right? So the dream has some degree of flexibility, I guess, but maybe not so much. And so never give up your dreams, because it also can have these adaptations, right? But okay, enough of abstract culture. So, folks, have a nice week. See ya and enjoy.